I think, gosh, everybody asks that question like they think it's some magical formula. I no, but I think there's a couple pieces that I think sometimes they think it's a formula, and I think it's not. I think it isn't. So yeah, it does begin with players without question, right? It begins without question with that. But I also think, and I listened a little bit, to Brad's interview with you, and I think he
Mm-hmm.
alluded it to you as well, and that is foundationally, I think Leighton Shoemaker had a piece, but I also think Dave Brand had a bigger piece,
Mm-hmm.
and that is he had the ability, I think, to articulate what a lot of us sometimes sort abstract. So what does it
Mm-hmm.
mean to have agreements on the field and
Yeah.
spell it out? What does it mean to have buy-in? What does that really look like? I mean, we talk about it. What does culture really look like as a player?
Yeah.
Because if those things have all got to line up, and then you got to have players who fit into it. And I think that's a little bit of the uniqueness of Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the challenge at Messiah, it's I don't say good and bad, but it's just different. So in
Mm-hmm.
recruiting, we're not looking for the same person as 90% of the other schools in the country,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I don't often feel like I'm recruiting against, I'll just say, a William Smith. I know
Mm-hmm.
Alisane really well. She's
Yeah.
great. She's fantastic. I don't recruit against Alisane very often because we're different schools,
Yeah.
right? Just what we have to offer and who we are and what we're looking for and what families are looking for
Yeah.
at a place. And so though it narrows the pool of who we look at,
Mm-hmm.
when it's the right person, it
You
fits.
nailed it. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
nailed it. And like it's everybody's like, you're recruiting, like you get hundreds of kids to look at your school. And I go like, no,
Yeah.
there might be 20 to 30 a year, maybe
Mm-hmm.
that really fit us,
Yeah.
that really
Yeah.
fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and then you bring them into a culture that, hey, these are the expectations. And I think it takes time. One of the books that Davey talked about, Good to Great, just a
Yeah.
great,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a lot of those principles. And I think
Yeah.
I think Messiah has sort of hit what he would call the was it the flywheel.
The flywheel.
You
Yeah.
keep pushing and pushing, and finally you
Yeah.
get it going, and people think, well, it just happens. Well,
Mm.
there was a lot of pushing along the way, and a lot of choices and decisions, and
Yeah.
a lot of things along the direction that got it to this point. And now everybody's like, well, it's just easy. Everybody comes. It's like, no, it's not easy. You have to make decisions every day that affect your program, what goes on in the culture,
Mm-hmm.
continuous expectations on the field. I think Messiah soccer, if you would say men and women, I think the word is discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I think most coaches don't want to work that hard and demand the discipline that Messiah soccer demands.
Mm-hmm.
They really, I think it's hard because
Yeah. Yeah.
soccer and it's, this will be jumping on my soapbox, but I think soccer for a lot of coaches in their true sense is like, we want it to be free and
Yeah.
flowing and
Yeah. Yeah.
creative. Gosh, how many
Yeah.
conversations do we have about creative players?
Yeah.
Well, they are important. There's no doubt about it. But I also go, I don't think Pep and Klopp are saying do whatever you want to.
No,
No,
yeah.
they
Yeah.
aren't, right? No, there's a structure.
Yeah.
And I think what Dave Brandt did was he provided a structure that I think good players fit into, become better.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I mean by that? I think a lot of coaches would look at our roster and go like, in and of themselves, pretty pretty average players. They're not ECNL players. They
Mm-hmm.
aren't. We might have two or three, maybe. I don't know if we have that many. But that's where you have to get all your players, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I can tell you story after story of players who were good players, good athletes, came and fit into a system, and
And
they
just
became better
yeah.
because
Yeah.
we helped them maximize what they do and got them a
Mm-hmm.
little bit better. But we stayed within our system and whatever. I talk to Brad all the time. They have ups and downs with talent, and I go, your system is what sustains you.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have quite the talent that you may have had, because I look at our program now, like we don't have some of the talent we had years ago. There
Mm-hmm.
was years ago where I felt we were a step ahead of everybody with
Yeah.
our talent and with our system.
Yeah.
I would say our system, and same with Brad at times, the system sustains.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because there's a structure, there's a belief, there's an understanding. We're not trying something new every week.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the I call the system of the month, or the style of the month, right?
Drives
We're
me
always
nuts. Yeah.
right. Brad has played the same way for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
That's why they're good at it. There's a reason they're good at it. We haven't. But I would say our style hasn't changed. Our
Yeah.
systems, I'm a much more I'll change my system.
Mm-hmm.
It's still 11 players. I'll change system based on personnel. But the style, I want to play in their end of the field. I want to have the ball. And yeah, if you don't have the ball, you can't score. I
Yeah.
think that's really, really true.
Yeah.
So the system to me is less important than style and discipline.